Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Today's topic is Microsoft Teams Lab Session 3, Tips, Hacks, and Shortcuts. This is a part of an ongoing series that we'll be doing moving forward. We are glad to have you with us today. My name is Jack Reedy, Senior Business Developer here at TLC Tech. To keep everything on track and to not go over the allotted time, we will be muting all participants for the duration of this webinar. After each section, we will take a few questions related to the topic. If your question is not answered, there will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the webinar during the Q&A segment. If you have a question, please type it into the question pod of your GoToWebinar control panel. We will cover the more advanced questions in the third session. We will also be sending out an email 1 hour after this webinar with a link to a survey. It would be very useful for us if you reply to us to help us decide future webinar topics. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to today's instructor, Michael Nelson, the president and founder of TLC Tech, a Sacramento-based IT company dedicated to helping businesses grow and thrive through Microsoft integrations, managed IT services, and cybersecurity solutions. Now I'll turn it over to Michael, who will share with you our agenda in Microsoft Teams.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for bringing on. Let me start sharing my screen with you. So first thing we're going to do is go over the agenda. So today we've got a deeper agenda, but we're going to go through these items fairly quickly. So I'll just let you look at that real quick. I'm going to do a couple of follow-up questions from the last meeting. Then we'll go ahead and talk about meetings, video calls versus video meetings. There's a subtle difference between that. Recording the meetings, we're going to look at how we search, being able to change fonts and level of urgency with chats in messages. We'll go into sending an email, how to find files, and then the tips and tricks, using the /, the @ symbol, and then we're going to explore other things over here on the sidebar, as well as the user menu up here, and then adding applications into the team session. So first thing I wanted to follow up on, we had a couple of questions that I couldn't totally answer. Nellie had asked about shared calendars inside the calendar tab over here. That's not an option the way that you traditionally do it in Outlook. There is the possibility of doing a group calendar. It's a separate idea. So Nellie, if you want to follow up on that with me one-on-one, we can go into deeper depth on that. Somebody else had a great question about doing a frequently asked questions area. So I went ahead and created, somebody had suggested, we had the wiki, somebody else had suggested OneNote. So I went in and did a quick Q&A for both, and I'll show you. So on OneNote, when you pull it in, if you're used to OneNote, you'll be used to this look and feel. Let me say edit and go in here. So I did top level was the FAQ master, and then sub pages where you could list a question and an answer. That's kind of so-so on that one. Here I did one answers an A. This was simply by using tab. I typed question, hit tab, and then I could put the answer in. So that's what it would look like using OneNote. Wiki I actually found to be a little more intuitive because of this way you can actually see the questions. Now, if you notice, this is just one page here in the wiki. This would be a second page. So they open and close as you click on them. So if you had areas that you could organize by pages, so you might have FAQs on HR, on onboarding, on client relationship, these kind of things. Each one of those would be its own page. So that's a possible, those are two different options. Again, the wiki I think might work better, but I wanted to give everybody a couple of options. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into doing a video chat from a group chat. So remember, Jack and I have been going back and forth. This is a one-on-one chat. We have a group chat with Jack, Lisa, and myself. So in my normal course of doing business, we try to do a lot of things through the Teams chat, but there's times that you just got to talk. So without having to go set up a meeting, it's very simple to just simply say video call. And what that's doing right now is it's calling both Jack and Lisa. They should both answer here in a second. So Jack showed up. It's still calling Lisa. So it opens both of them up into the video window. I think Lisa has blur on or had a very bad internet connection, but you see how that pops up. So I can, okay. So this is the simple, easy way to do a group video call. Again, sometimes you're just going back and forth on chat. It's kind of the same thing with text that you can't sometimes get the tone. Some things get lost. Sometimes you just need the face-to-face. So without having to leave the chat window, you just simply do that call. Lisa, thank you very much. Jack, I'm going to hang up with all of you. So this is, again, you can do a audio call only or a video call using these two buttons. Again, if you're in one and you wanted to add somebody, we talked about that inside of I'll show you that on the next time Jack and I are on a video. So that's doing a video call. The other thing I wanted to show you, we had talked about scheduling meetings, and Jack and I are going to jump on this one in a second. But sometimes, let's say I wanted to do a call at noon today, do the title, but I wanted to know, I'm going to do Jack here, and then I'm going to do Lisa. But I need to figure out when they're available. If I go into scheduling assistant, it will automatically pull up and show me their calendar. So Lisa's status is unknown. Again, we're using a trial, not a trial, but we're not using our traditional tlctech.com Teams. I'm in my webinar show off one. So Lisa doesn't have calendar items. Jack, you can see, has things that are tentatively scheduled. So I can go in here and find a time that works for all of us. Now, for all of you that are in Office 365, this would work fine. You just type in the other users. You can see everybody that way. So I'll go ahead and close that. And I'm going to discard the changes. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick call just to Jack, quick video call. And I want to show you when you're there's a difference between a video call and a video meeting. So when I'm in this call right now, if I go into my ellipses, I can, again, get my device settings. I can do hold. I can actually transfer this to another person in the company. I can show my background effects. I can record. So I can record this call. I can also show background effects. Jack and I are going to hang up this call, and we're now going to go into, I want to show you two different ways. I have scheduled a meeting at 10 o'clock. That's a Teams video meeting. You see I have a join button there. What I want to show you is I had scheduled that inside of Jack's main. Yeah, so it's right here. I can also click to it and join it this way as well. So there's several different ways you can join into a meeting. I'm going to jump back over to my calendar and I'm going to join the meeting. Now, this one, instead of jumping me directly into a video, it says, do you want to turn on camera? Do you want to turn on audio? I just had a message pop up in my other screen that you can't see that says test meeting with Jack. Jack started the meeting. So I'll go ahead and join now. That's going to connect me in. The reason I want to show you this is there is now more buttons that turned up. The one that's really important is the turn on. Well, first I'm going to start recording. You'll show here in just a second. Okay, so it says I'm recording. That also, by the way, Jack, that just popped up on your side as well, saying that the meeting was being recorded, right? So this is not something you can do stealth in stealth mode, as it were. So I'm going to dismiss that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on live captions. So this is where it gets a little more interesting, is now everything that I'm saying is being closed caption. Jack's going to have his turn now.
Yep. Everything is being closed captioned.
So we're going to go through another show off for you in just a second. Um, so we did this. I had scheduled this meeting inside of a channel. I'm going to go ahead and hang up on this meeting now. And what I'm going to show you is, if you notice at 10 o'clock, that showed up that the meeting was running. Now, right here, you'll see that the meeting started because I ended the meeting, and Jack, you've ended the meeting.
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, you need to hang up the meeting for it to stop recording. So if you notice, now that just changed because he hung up. And right here, it now says recording is stopped, saving meeting, saving recording to Microsoft Stream. And that's something that I'm going to show you. Now, this has got to process and do a fair number of things because it's reading the meeting transcript right now. And I'm going to show you, Jack and I did a recording yesterday. That I'm going to bring over to you. So Jack, you can see the session 3 recording for show off.
Yep.
Okay, so Jack, this is a meeting. Let me mute that. Jack and I did this meeting yesterday. It's going through, it was 1 minute, 38 seconds. What I want to point out though is that there's a transcript. That's one of the really incredible things about meeting recordings, is that it will save a transcript of the meeting. You have to set it up. It's fairly quick and easy to do. But now I can go in and I can search for a keyword. We intentionally did obscure numerous times. So that showed up at 56 seconds in, at 103, at 108, and at 111. If you notice right here, I'm on 7 seconds in. If I jump to that, it will jump me directly to that part of the meeting. And that's one of the real powerful things. So if you're in a meeting, it's an hour-long meeting, you've talked about things, you need to go back and reference it, but you don't remember exactly where. Now you can go in with a keyword search and search for an exact word. It'll show you exactly where in the meeting it was said. You can jump to that portion of the meeting. Any questions?
None at the moment.
Okay, so if you have questions about that, I think that's one of the most powerful things about this, about doing the recordings in Teams. Let me see if this has gone back yet. Yeah, so it's still saving up to stream. What I'll show you is that at the end, it will actually embed the meeting in here as well. So Jack, help me remember to jump back to that so we can show them how that works. So again, when you're in a meeting, when it's a video call, you cannot turn on closed captionings. When it is a scheduled meeting inside of Teams, you can turn on closed captionings. Now, I showed you, let me just show you again, when you go into the Office 365, videos are always saved into what's called Stream. I go into Stream and discover my videos. Here's all the videos that have been done inside of my show off Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So there's more things that we can do in here. Stream is actually one of the options that's going to be on one of the future webinars. That's why it's so important for you everybody on the call to do the survey for us so that we find out how much interest there is about that. So let me move that out of the way. Okay, so you'll notice when I scheduled the meeting, again, I had referenced this last time, but let me go back. I can open up a meeting. Remember that I can add it to a particular channel. The reason that you would want to do that is that when you go back into the channel, it will be recorded into that particular channel. This is very, very useful if you've got, let's say you've got an ad hoc team, you've got 6 people that are working on something, you have a meeting, only 5 people can attend the meeting, but that 6th person needs to know what happened in that meeting. They can just simply go back into the channel, go into the post, and be able to find the meeting right there. So you don't have to share it with them. You don't have to do anything. It's just automatically embedded in the meeting. Again, this is going to take, it takes 10 minutes or so, depending upon the length of the meeting. So it was 1 minute, 43 seconds. it's going through and it's doing a transcription of everything that was said. There we go, it just showed up. So now all that person has to do is click in, open it up. Now you will notice in this example, it's the same meeting, but you can't see the closed captionings. Remember that we had turned on closed captionings. This is just showing the meeting itself. You also don't have, no, captions, okay. Actually, God, I love closed captioning. So all I had to do there was click the closed captioning and it actually turned on. Wow, learned something new today. The fun thing with, like I said, technology doing it live. The one thing though that I do not see in here is, well, there's the search transcript. It shows, let me do a search here for show. So there it is. It will go through. You can actually search it. It's got a slightly different interface, but it will show. Okay, so it showed up that I said show twice at 2 and at 34. If I click on the 34, it'll jump me straight to that part. So you can do it in here as well. It's just a slight different interface. And sorry that I just discovered that one on the fly. Like I said, it's always fun. Jack, any questions?
No, still good.
Okay, so if you guys have questions about anything, please jump on in. So now I'm going to go into the search. So I want to type up here, and I'm going to search for the word good. Now, if you notice, I've got three things here. I've got messages, people, and files. This shows me everywhere and with who. So I said good. Okay, sounds good with Jack. Did that 3 times. I said nope, you're good. In former ones, I said this. So let's see if I have any people. Nope. Files. There were 2 files that had the word good in them. Now I'm going to do it for outline because that's one of the files that we've been working on is outline. So I had told Jack yesterday I'm working on the outline. Again, no people. Files though, there are my files that have either outline in the title or that's going to be inside of the document because it obviously has the word outline in it. Final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for the word Jack. So this shows me every conversation I've had with Jack or mentioned Jack. People, now I actually have somebody that showed up in there, especially for some of our larger partners that are on this call. It's a quick, easy way. If you're trying to find somebody and you've got 60 people in the directory, it might take a little while to find them. Just simple, easy, just type the name, go to people, and that's how you can quickly get to them. Now that can jump me directly into a chat window. I can also see if there's any files that had the word Jack in them. So that's how the search bar works. Moving along, we've gone in depth a lot about chat. What I didn't go into though is some of the submenus down here. In particular, the font. This is where you can do any sort of thing that you want. You can change the message, you can change the style, you can do strike through. You've got some paragraph, you can make the font larger. It's not like Microsoft Word with the full functionality there. You can do bulleted list, you can do indents, you can hyperlink to an outside. If any of you want to get really creative, you can put in code. That's again HTML, that's way beyond me, but for those of you that have that geek ability, there you are. The other thing you can do is you can attach items. You can upload it from my computer or from OneDrive. You can also go do GIFs. Let me see, yesterday, so I'll just type silly, see what shows up. So these are the silly GIFs. Sometimes, in our company, we have a fun channel, as it were, and we've got a lot of GIFs that'll show up in there. You've also got the emojis. You can search for the emojis also by just clicking in the search. You can embed a stream. So you have to, again, if there was a meeting over here, so this is let me get the meeting that Jack and I just did. That should be here now. Let me refresh that. Come on, don't make a liar out of me. Okay, so there's the meeting. So I can get here. I can get the address out of here. Oops, let me stop that. So I can get the address from the address bar up here, and I can paste a link to it. So that's going to go find it. Bam, I can now embed that video straight into that message. So there's lots of things you can do that way. The other thing you can do that is interesting is the exclamation point. So the delivery options, when you click here, you can make it important. Jack, go ahead and send me in an important message, please. Are you there, Jack?
Yeah, I'm here. One second.
Okay. So when he first, all he has to do is type the message and then set an importance to it, hit enter. I'll show it on this side. To Jack, I'm going to make this important. And next to the A underneath the chat window. Yeah, so I just made that important, and on Jack's side, he's also going to get an exclamation point that will show up inside. Remember how the @ symbol shows up under activity and under teams? That'll show up on his side. The other thing that needs to happen is really urgent. Now in here, if you notice, I can say urgent. Recipient will be notified every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. So until he recognizes it, okay, so you just saw mine. So he just gave me an important message. Jack, do that one more time because I answered it too quickly.
Just important.
Yeah, just important for this one. And then once that shows up, oh, I'm in the window. Jack, one more time. Because if you noticed, it showed up in the, it'll show up in the activity, but because I was inside the chat, it saw that I read the message. So there we go. So that just showed up that I've got an important message. Now, Jack, do me a favor, do the one that'll bug me, because I want them to see how that alarms up as well. So basically what it'll do is it's going to keep making a notification every 2 minutes. So right here, it just gave me an activity and a notification. It has also got the alarm bell on it that's telling me that it's going to keep bugging me. So if I don't respond to that, if I don't click in and read that message, every 2 minutes, I'm going to get another pop-up on my window saying I've got an urgent message waiting for me. I click in and you notice everything just went away. It's now been recognized, so it will stop that notification for me. So that's the urgency. And again, that is the little exclamation point right next to your font options. Okay, one really, really cool thing that I found, and I think I had talked to everybody about this, is, and I said we'd show it off in another session, inside of each channel, if you go into the ellipses, you have get email address. So that has an email address. It gives you that email. I went ahead and copied it, and I'm going to go ahead and forward a message right now from my, it's something that I get every week called My Analytics from Microsoft. That should show up within, sometimes it'll show up within 5 to 10 seconds. It's fairly quick though. There we are. So My Analytics, so that I just emailed that to me. Says it's too large to display here. View original email below to see it. I click on that. That'll open up another window. And actually what it just did is it'll let me open it up as the original email message. And this is the analytics that Microsoft tells me of what I'm doing, how much focus time scheduled, how much time I've spent in the last few weeks. It's kind of a cool thing that you can do, that you can see. But the point is, it moves it in here into, it just forwards it and embeds it into the channel. So if you're on an ad hoc team and you get an email that you want to share with the team, the default is we just forward it to everybody on the team. However, if you need to preserve it and you want to keep it as part of your team, forward it to the channel. Again, you can save this as a contact record inside of Outlook. So if this is a channel that you email often, the other cool thing is that once you do an email, if you go over to files, it will automatically create a folder called email messages. Every message that gets sent into that channel will be saved automatically in the folder under the files. It'll save it into the email messages. So that's how you send an email to a channel. Again, any channel you want, every single channel will have an email address. If you haven't sent one before, the first time you say get email, you notice this takes a little bit longer because it actually is creating it on the fly the first time. It doesn't actually create the email address until you request it. Then once you've requested it, if you notice when I go over to session 3 and I get the email address because I've already done it, it's a lot faster that time. So just the first time you do it, there'll be a little bit of a delay, but not bad. Okay, so that's how you send an email to a channel. I want to talk now about how you find files. Several different ways. We've already talked about searching this way. So I can do an outline, click on files. This shows me everything that way. The other thing I can do is go into the files menu. This is going to show me all of my recent files that I've worked on inside, and it's going to show me where they are. So the ones I've been working on webinar show off session 3 in the general, again, these are channels. So that's webinar show off is the team, session 3 is the channel. Let me remind you here, just go back to teams, webinar show off. We have general, Jack's main, session 2, session 3. I go back to my files, set webinar show off, general, session 3, session 2. So it organizes it and lets you know where inside of your team's environment that file is actually located. You can also click over and see on your private OneDrive file as well. So it links, remember, last time I talked about the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, likes to link everything together. Again, I haven't found this completely in writing yet, but again, Microsoft's goal is to really make Teams your default primary application that you're using throughout your day. The more they can create things like this that link over all of your documents, your data, again, it's the same way that your calendar has been integrated. So it's got everything that you need to see on your calendar. They're trying to make it simple as well. You can also add other cloud stored devices. If you use, a lot of you, because you are partners, are not using Dropbox or Box anymore, but there are ways to also link over other systems if you're using them that way. Some of you may have private Google Drives. Some of you may be using ShareFile. Those can link over this way as well. Okay, that's finding files. Any questions on how to find files or anything in the search?
Nothing there.
Okay, a little more quiet today. Okay, so now we're going to get into some of the cool, fun things. If you notice right up top, once I click in here, there is type / or @ for a full list of commands. / gives me every single activity that I can do inside. So let's say I want to see what my mentions were. All I have to do is click here. There's all the places that I had somebody mention me. That's an easy, quick way to find where people may have referenced you. If I do @ let's do what's new. I haven't done that one. So this will tell you what's new in Microsoft Teams. So, oh, that's right. So there's now a raise your hand button. How many of you also noticed, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but now you can see up to 9 people in the tiles. We internally call this the Brady Bunch view. Let me see, channel analytics has arrived. So this is just a cool way to find out what's new and what's new things that show up inside of Microsoft Teams. Let me see, chat, let me see, I've got, let me see, oh, pop. So I can now do a pop out. This is actually a new feature. So you may be in a meeting with somebody and you're needing to have a little side chat. You can pop that window out and have a little side chat without leaving your meeting. So that's a new feature that showed up. That one was I think that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's a few more things coming down the pike. Again, it's only going to announce the things that are done and released, not what's upcoming. Again, /, that's the one where shift is the question mark. You've got backslash or forward. This is the /. I can see, let me see, saved. So, oh, right. That's right. I had not talked about this. When you're inside of a chat, you can actually save it. So if I wanted to right here, save this message. So the first one, again, always remember 3 ellipses everywhere you're going to go in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. The ellipses give you your advanced menu. I can save this message. I'll jump over to this one and I'll save this one as well. So now just clicking / save, let's say, yeah, saved, it'll show me all of the messages, including the ones that I just tagged. So it shows me, it's kind of the equivalent would be in Microsoft Outlook flagging a message. So saved and flagging, this is how you save or flag a message inside of Teams. Again, /, so right now, if you notice, my status is in a meeting, and I'm going to go ahead and change that to do not disturb. So I won't get notifications, I won't get pop-ups, any of that. But let's say that I wanted to be available. All I have to do is type that, bam, I have now switched to available. And if you notice, Jack, go ahead and change yourself. Let's see what Jack's status is. Let me see, under, sorry, no, go to calls. Where am I going here now? Oh, let me see, I want to show that. So Jack, what's your status right now? Okay, so Jack just changed to, he's in a do not disturb. If he goes ahead right now, so if I were gonna be messaging him right now, I would know that he's not gonna see that until he gets out of the do not disturb. Well, he could see it if he clicked in the channel, but it won't pop up any messages. So Jack, go ahead and in your main window do a / available, and you'll see how that changes. That's going to change that little red dot to green in just a second. Once he makes himself available, then it flips over on my side and updates my side as well. Jack, is it showing on your side?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. It might take just a second for that to show up. Okay, we'll give that a second. Again, remember that my Teams is communicating with Microsoft 365. His is, so it's got to update. That's not going to be in an immediate real time. That'll take just, it's actually taking a little longer than I'm expecting it to. Jack, am I still showing up green on your side?
Yep.
Okay. And you're showing green on your icon?
Yep.
Right up here? Okay. So that's not going to be real time. That's going to be delayed by a little bit. We'll see how long that takes to change over there. Again, all you have to do is type the /. That'll give you everything that's available. You can see your unread, saved, pop out, mentions, help, go to your files, changing your status, all of those things available there. So that's using the /. The other thing you can do inside of here is type @. Now, that brings up my ability to chat with people. So I can say @Jack. Remember that I can do a mention. So if I do @Jack, that'll do a mention. You can also do other things. For example, I can do @weather and search for location. If you notice right up here, now it embeds weather. Let's see what the weather says today. It'll pop up. It's going to be sunny, mostly cloudy. There, you'll see more and more things added in here. There's also a stock market ticker. Add stocks. You can do @stream. Again, that's one of the future ones. You can do Survey Monkey, so you can pull in a Survey Monkey if you use that for your team. You can get news, you can do places, Wikipedia, you can search YouTube as well. So those are the kind of things. By the way, if you want to do an @praise, what it basically does is said, hey, I'm going to do, at the end of this, I'll send to Jack, thanks for helping. And preview that, and then, okay, that, and then I'm going to just send. So basically on Jack's side, he just gets a window popping up saying, hey, Michael sent you praise and says, thank you. So that is using the @ shortcut. Again, remember up here, you can do lots of things. Jack, let's jump back on a call real quick. And I'm going to mute because we're talking over the GoToWebinar. So while I'm in here, I can also do a chat with Lisa. So you notice it's really hard for me to have a video talking to all of you and type, so I'm doing this a little slow. But I just sent a message to Lisa, and if I hit enter again, that'll actually take me to the chat window. But that's sent over to her. I don't have to get out of my meeting to do that. Lisa just popped up in my other windows. She just wrote back, hello. So I don't have to leave the meeting to do that, and that's kind of important. Now, if I do want to pop over and interact, you'll notice that my meeting with Jack goes up here, but I can go and get back into, I can do a chat window back and forth with Lisa. Now, I've done that. How do I get back into my window, my meeting with Jack? I just double click on that, takes me back into a full screen. Again, I can go back into my Teams. I can click around this way, double click to go back into the video meeting. So that's how you can kind of navigate around. But you can do all of these things. Let me see, I want to find files. So I want to grab files. These are the ones that I've been working on. So if I'm talking to Jack and it's like, oh, just a second, I want to go look at the agenda really quick. Pulls up the agenda, puts Jack into a small screen mode, close up the agenda. I'm back into the full screen mode with Jack again. Okay.
And we did have one quick question.
Okay.
Just wanted a clarification on the pop out, where you were able to pop out the chat.
Great question. So let me do this real quick. So I'm going to do, let's say, oh, actually, this is a really good. So let's do an @pop, actually /pop. So that pop, I'm going to do a popped window. So I'm in a meeting with Jack, but I'm with Jack using a pop out window. So I now am chatting with Lisa in a pop out, but I've been able to keep the meeting full screen with Jack. So what's the best way? You know how you can have multiple tabs open on a browser? That's kind of the same thing this way. It gives you the ability to pop out so that you don't have to, I'm doing it this way. The other option was to go into chat, click on Lisa, and then interact this way. But I can pop out the message. I can also do it here. So now I have, oh no, I've got a couple of windows open. Now I've got this window open here. I could have multiple windows open the same way. So if that doesn't answer your question, let us know. Let me see here. Okay. So you can pop it out several different ways. Again, inside of, so up here, /pop, and then it'll ask you who. Inside of the chat, Lisa, pop out here. So those are the two different ways that you can do a pop out message. Okay, Jack, I'm going to go ahead and hang up on the video. Okay, so I want to explore the left sidebar now. We've gone over these ad nauseum to this point. We've got the activity that we've done, chats, teams. These are the calls that I've made. Oh, we haven't actually gone through that. So you can put a speed dial in here. You can do a group. So if there's a group of people that you typically do a video or a voice call to on a regular basis, you could do a new group. Just type in, give it a name. I'll do test group and create that. Then it'll let you add people into the group. So there's my test group. Oh, actually, I'd have to add Jack into that group. So you can create groups that way. Again, you have access to your calendar that synchronizes again with your Microsoft Outlook calendar. I'm going to bring this over. So click on calendar. You can see over here, work on outline, practice webinar, session 3 recording. That synchronizes the same way that it would between your phone, between Outlook, and between the Outlook web application website. You have all of your files that you have access to. These are your recent, these are files within Microsoft Teams. These are downloads, and then you can add your OneStorage or other cloud storages available there. Now, if you notice, we have, so this is enumerated all of the files that I have inside of this Microsoft Teams. And again, it tells me where it is. If you notice here, however, now it's showing a little bit more. This is actually showing where it actually lives on the SharePoint site. Again, back to the Microsoft ecosystem, everything is related. All of the data that we're doing and saving in Teams is actually saved in a private folder for Teams in a private SharePoint site. It just uses the SharePoint engine to create a place to store the data. So this is where it's showing you the sites. That's why it looks just a little bit different, is because it's showing you the SharePoint location of it. Again, if you notice, there's 3 ellipses. Here are other things. So if you use Stream a lot, you might want to have Stream show up here instead of having I had to go over and bring up Microsoft. I had to log into Stream. Now, I've added this to my watch list, which is why it's in here. So you don't get the full functionality of Stream, but you get a lot of it. So there's things that you can do in here. Now I can also click here, and that will take me to my full Microsoft Stream video library. Okay, and that was linking over to my tlctech.com, which is why I didn't pull anything up. Also in here is if you've linked SurveyMonkey, you can pull that over. Now, if you notice, I have some things. I've lost my real estate here. There is only a certain amount that you can do and show up here on the left side. Also, you can rearrange this by dragging and dropping. So you can move if files is something you use more frequently, you can put that there. Calendar, I might want to put that at the top. You can drag and drop this around. And you notice the last one will get replaced by what you're going to be using. So remember I had created that wiki. That will show me there's the recent. So there's the frequently asked question wiki that I created under session 3. So there's ways that you can link this over. Now, the other is that I think we had clicked on this before, more apps. There is a huge, huge, huge amount of things that can be added in. This is also tied into the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So you can look, Lisa loves Secretary Bot. I've not used it yet. All I have to do is click, add it. That'll also do a video, but now I have in here a Secretary Bot, and I'm not going to do this live without practice, but you can ask, hey, when is Lisa available? There's things that you can do with that. So again, you can keep adding more apps into, if you're using Zoom, Microsoft Flow, that's another possible topic for us at a future webinar. Again, and they keep adding more and more and more and more. So if you're in sales, they've got Dynamics, which is a Microsoft product. You've got Salesforce, Zendesk, I know. Oh, Zoho, I know there's 1 or 2 people. Joe, I believe you're on the call. Zoho can be integrated this way into Teams as well. So if you have questions on that, we can help you with that. So that's how you would add additional apps. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the questions window. Again, you can add more or less. And as you add an app, it shows up on here. So this is an easy way, since there is a slight limitation here. This is an easy way. I'd love to be able to see more real estate available here. That's not something that I've seen available yet, but I'm sure that will show up. So that's the left sidebar. And again, to rearrange things, all you have to do is simply click, drag, drop, and that'll rearrange them that way. Okay, we also explored the ellipses here. The other thing I want to look at is up here on your user. So you can get to that from anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and click on my user. Here again, I can just easily click on my status, whether I'm busy, do not disturb. For those that are, again, especially with the work from home that we're all doing now, if you're just getting up to go get a drink, use the restroom, something like this, changing it over to be right back is great. A pure way is, hey, don't bother me, please. So that's a good way to make sure your coworkers know whether or not you're going to be available or what you want to do. Also in here, so I can set a status message. So if somebody messages me, I can say, hey, I'm going to be a webinar for an hour. So I can do that if somebody messages me, and I can clear this after 1 hour. So if I do that, if anybody messages me, they're going to get a pop back saying, hey, Michael's in a webinar and is not going to be available. I can go into, also remember we'd talked on saved messages. I can click here to jump to all of my saved messages as well. I can also go into my settings. This is where I can change, again, whether or not this application auto starts. So basically anytime, and obviously I've got this turned on because we use Teams so much, every time my machine starts up, reboots, it will automatically start Teams for me. I could say, hey, open it into the background. That just doesn't make it forcibly come on top. Disable GPU hardware, that's not really a big deal. What is my default language? Again, you've got lots of options in here. The level of privacy, do not disturb. I can block. Again, this is really going to be typically for much larger companies. Read receipts, this is kind of important, and I'm going to encourage, this is it's an interesting, have you read this? So you notice here, I can see that that got sent, but until he clicks on and reads it, I won't know. But when Jack clicks on this channel and sees that, it changes to a message of seen. That is directly tied to the settings of privacy. By default, I believe it is turned on. I'm going to encourage that, especially on the work from home. It's kind of important knowing if somebody's read your message or not. It's really easy to go, what? Yeah, they haven't, what in the world? They haven't responded to me. This is a real easy way to know whether or not they've seen your message. Again, the ability to participate in surveys. You can decide on your notifications. So again, the banner, so your options here, banner and email off, only show in the feed. So if somebody pops me a message, it actually shows up on the banner and it'll pop up a little message. Most everybody remembers back in the day, I think we've turned it off for most everybody, when a new email would come in, it would pop up a little window down by your system clock saying that somebody had sent you an email. This is how you do it. So if I want my chat messages, I'm going to only say the banner. That way it won't pop up and say, hey, every single time somebody messages me, that it would pop up a little pop-up window down near my system clock saying, Jack sends you a message. So there's all sorts of things you can do in here. Meetings. This one's actually kind of important. Is when meetings start that you're a member of, it'll actually pop up an icon down in your system tray if you've got this turned on saying the meeting started, do you want to join? It's a great way to not miss meetings. We have that under devices. This is how you change what your video is using, what your microphones. Right now I've got my headsets on. If I wanted to change it to my desktop speakers so that sometimes these get a little heavy, I may want to take them off for a little while. Permissions, what it's giving access to. If I had turned off location, then I wouldn't be able to show where I was. So again, notifications, external links, whether or not you allow them, and then you can see what happens with your calls. If it's unanswered, go to voicemail, do nothing, or you can say forward my calls. Now, there is the ability to add a true telephone number into your Microsoft Teams account. It is a billable event from Microsoft, but you can get a phone number that way. So you could do forwarding with some things that way. Ringtones, what it sounds like when people call. So those are the user menu settings. If you want to zoom, you can make things a little bit larger. As we're all getting older, that sometimes makes it easier. And then if you're on a web-based version, you can download, or vice versa. It knows I'm on the application, so I can download the mobile app if you want to get this on your phone. You can check for updates for the meeting as well. So that's the user menu underneath your name. Again, if you want to add your picture, it's real simple. Just say change picture. This will upload a picture, and then it lets you kind of focus which part of the picture you want to show. That'll update it there. And then again, I want to revisit the apps. Think of this kind of like the Microsoft 365 App Store. If you have an iPhone, everybody is familiar with the App Store. For HR, there's a lot of things in here, like ADP Virtual Assistant. I think we use ADP for our payroll. There's a way to have that interact this way. You've got education, productivity. That's Microsoft Flow. Poly is surveys, Zoom. So if you're doing Zoom meetings, you could also put that in there. It allows you, let's see what this one says. So you can start, schedule, join Zoom meetings from within Microsoft Teams. So, Zoom is obviously one of their competitors, but they're still making that easy for you to do from within here. Again, you click on it, you say add, it'll tie in. Then in here, you'd have to go in, just follow the directions, terms of use. You can see meetings. Again, you'd have to be logged in. Yeah, it will want me to sign in. The one thing to keep in mind here is this I use for myself LastPass for passwords. LastPass does not interact with items that are embedded inside of Teams. I'm not sure if that'll change in the future. That's the only thing that I don't like about embedding things in here, is because anymore, I don't even know what most of my passwords are because I have them randomly generated and use a 16-digit character that there's no way I'd ever be able to remember. So you can add things in this way. Just remember though, you will have to sign in with your normal name and password. Okay, one final thing I will show you is, let me go back into Teams. So one of the other things that is possible is adding up here on the tabs. Remember, I can add things in here. I can add apps inside. So the applications that I just showed you this way, that we can add up and down on the sidebar, within a team, within a channel in a team, you can also add those same applications. So it would be available everywhere. If you did it this way, it would be available to everywhere inside of Teams. If you did it in adding a new tab inside of a channel, it will only be available to that channel. One of the things that you can do is you can add a website. It asks you for the full address. You have to type the HTTP. Most everything now these days is HTTPS. Type, save, and now anytime I wanted to, I can be in my post. All I have to do is click over the website. So I know a lot of, I know we've got several law firms on the call. If you're using I'm forgetting the name, but I know there's a website that you go to look up some case law. You can embed that directly into a channel, and you can embed as many as you wanted. So let's say I wanted Google for my normal search engine. Then you have to type it correctly and save. Bam. So now I could reinstall it saying, hey, this is obviously tying it in with Chrome. I'm going to give that up. But now I can be in a wiki, and all I have to do is simply click on my Google, and then I can go do my search. And let's find out what it thinks about Teams. So this is how you can add websites into the tab of a channel. Again, you notice that's not on Jack's main, but on my general. So if there's one, you might have your own kind of private team. You could create yourself some shortcuts this way.
We did have
So
another question.
what do we have there?
Can you explain a little more with the what LastPass is? LastPass.
Sorry, LastPass, not blast, LastPass. LAST, like last in a series. It's a password program that saves passwords. It's a standalone application. It will actually embed with your browser. It has a plugin for Chrome for, well, let me just show you here. Okay, so if I go into, let's say here, okay, that's not good. Let's do, I'm already going to be logged into this one, I believe. So let me go to log out. So when I go in here, you'll notice right here, I have the ability, this is my LastPass, and it'll let me log in. Now, the thing that I like about it is that when I'm creating a password, I can go into generate a secure password and look at that password. So you can also say, hey, no, I want it to be 22 characters long, and it'll just generate a random password. You embed that, you save it. It's a really, I hate passwords, and short passwords are getting more and more dangerous. Again, two-factor authentication, I strongly encourage everybody on this call, especially as you're moving to Office 365, remember that you have access inside of Office 365 to email, to files, to SharePoint, to everything that you do in your business. So it's becoming more and more important to have two-factor authentication. So I'll stop there. Let me go back to Teams. This is what I wanted to show you today. Just a couple of quick reminders. We're going to take a short hiatus. Next week is, my joke has been today is May. Next week is still May, but we've got Memorial Day weekend, so it's going to be a short week. So we're going to take a hiatus next week. We're going to come back on June 2nd. You're going to get a survey. Jack, can you paste that short survey link in the chat window for everybody? You'll get an email from GoToMeeting within about an hour after this finishes, showing, thanking you for attending and having a link to the survey. I'd like to get some feedback if you liked it, what worked, what didn't, but also I've identified 8 or 9 different future topics for us to learn. Just put a check mark next to any and all that you'd like to know. The ones with the highest votes will be the ones that we do first. Also asking if you would prefer to have this weekly for half hours, or whether you do a 1 hour every 2 weeks. So getting some feedback from you that way. The survey will really, really, really help us understand what's going to work best for you all. So any other questions? We're coming up on the top of the hour. I will stay on as long as you guys would like, as long as anybody has questions. Let me see. So yeah, for two-part authentication, yeah, I'll take care of that, Joe.
I'm not able to find the where did you put the link for the survey
Let me
again?
go ahead. We had that in, well, let's show them real time because I know it was in my full agenda. So here's the Session 3 overview. So I created short notes for everybody else and longer notes for us. So, oh, Jack's already, oh, hey, see, remember that we talked about co-authoring? So Jack obviously has this document open as well. So he's going to put that, that's using what is called a bit.ly. The actual link is a pretty long link. I didn't want to do that, so I went and created a bit.ly link to keep it short and sweet. That'll take you to again, to the survey that is right here. Again, this is using Microsoft Forms. It's quick and easy, just 1 to 5 stars. Would you recommend this to your coworkers? Did you learn something new? Rate the instructor, please. Give me honest feedback, people. You plan on attending future ones. Here are the potential future topics. We can go a little bit more in depth into adding apps into the Teams channel. If you do choose that one, give me some additional feedback of things that you'd like to know about that. And then we'd really like you to vote here on whether it would be you would like this weekly for 30 minutes, twice a month for 60 minutes, or you don't care either way. So that's really important. Please do that for us. And any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any come up. Feel free to email me directly, Jack directly. We're happy to answer any questions. I want to keep continuing to do these webinars. I hope you have found them useful. Please pop over to that survey, give us a response there so we can help you learn even more. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye.